in the mid lane. He's going to have Nyjacky on 80 carry. Heaven Time in the jungle on Lee Sin, arguably his best champion, aside from Sejuani, of course.
I do love how the classification for solo laner has been changing. It used to be solo mid, or solo AP mid, then solo mid. Then it kind of became laner. Like, you had a top laner, you had a mid laner. But, like, they could swap, so it's a laner. But it was solo laner still. Like, they were the guys on their own. Now we've got fabbbyyy, who's playing the AP duo as Tsatsulow being caught out, actually. Would be going down here.
Yeah, there's a death sentence aptly named. Its first blood goes to BrokenShard, and he will kind of break the backs of Tsatsulow, send him back to base the hard way, and it's going to be the first death of the game going his way, and just kind of caught out. He was going for a really risky ward, because if you don't establish, at least have the rest of your team there for backup, if you just try to walk into a brush, that's a brush that TBD are always going to be able to get to first. And so walking right in there, got death sentence, caught out there, and so first blood already drawn, and it's going to be BrokenShard in the jungle, starting with a Spirit Stone.
I mean, that's actually incredibly powerful for BrokenShard. He's going to have such a fast jungle clear. BrokenShard actually catching out the invade. Sell the spear hit.
And so nothing for now, but BrokenShard very, very low. He's going to have to burn through most of his potions very early. He's going to smite, steal it away. Heaven Time gets the steal on the red buff. Death Sentence back in. Where's the safeguard? Forced to flash away. Ignites down. He's going to drop. There it's red buff over to Bubbadub. Definitely earning that red buff very, very early on. The Death Sentence is completely on point. Bubbadub just crushing through this early game. 2 kills, 2 assists for ROBERTxLEE. So support Lucian in lane with a red buff Thresh.
This is a very, very silly start. Actually, another death sentence. Bubbadub just landed them. Rhux does burn his barrier. So we've gone from a game where it was we thought it might have been Swain and Fiddlesticks. Will still be Fiddlestick's Nidalee. The issue here is now BrokenShard being chased out of his own jungle. Tsatsulow needs to really get something done. They need to slow him down. He's got incredibly good jungle care right now, and that chase will help slow him down. As Arthelon now being chased out by Nyjacky. But the issue here is just, a bit too aggressive, a bit too overzealous in terms of plays from Curse Academy. They've had a slight advantage. At first, they thought they had the vision and map control to put down an aggressive ward. Then they thought they had the vision and map control to take out BrokenShard in his own jungle, and they did. They did take the red buff, but losing so much in response. Just a bit too short on the calculations.
Just showing the strengths, Curse Academy, of how even after losing 2 kills very early on, you can still make very, very dominant plays. And with fabbbyyy now playing a Swain top lane versus a Renekton, Renekton is kind of like the definition of a top lane right now. At the top of the food chain, now going to get in there, trade things out against fabbbyyy. fabbbyyy is playing not only a champion you don't see, but it's in a lane that you wouldn't necessarily expect Swain to be in, because it's a long lane, and Swain very, very immobile, kind of just gets ganked over and over again. But now it's actually going to be a Heaven Time coming in there. Westrice very low, force the flash, Ignite is down. Will the damage over time be enough? No, 28 hit points. Separates Westrice from death, and now it's actually going to be contest of the blue buff. Heaven Time be the recipient of that one, taking it away. And Tsatsulow just roaming everywhere. This reminds me a lot of the Season 3 World Championships, or Season 2 World Championships, where Dignitas brought out the roaming Taric. It just has a way to have your jungler be almost omnipotent wherever he wants to go. This time around, it's Fiddlesticks working out very, very well for Curse Academy.
Lanes have not really settled in. We've had people all across the map. For example, Lucian sitting in the tri-bush past the opposing team's turret. It's been a lot of chaos because both teams have junglers that started out so oddly. BrokenShard started with a Spirit Stone. That's a huge start. That's such a good, beneficial position to be in. It's now Heaven Time being chased out from the Golem. So it's a race to try and shut down the enemy jungler, because they know that whoever gets control first right now can really just maintain it. BrokenShard does get the blue buff. I believe that's 2 buffs for either side, except for the red buff going to Curse Academy. BrokenShard, got an assist off that, as they did kill Heaven Time. So I think it's even. It is, of course, gold advantage for TBD, so that is still in their favor. But as far as jungle clear and jungle aggression and jungle success, it looks like both teams have kind of evened out.
Death Sentence lands again, and it's going to be immediately the Piercing Light. Dive underneath the turret, a couple more auto attacks to land, but no, Spear traded right back away. And Rhux is running full AD Nidalee, no ability power at all. And I actually really don't like that. The most effective Nidalees I've seen from guys like Inox, who's just a Nidalee monster, is a little bit hybrid, so that you get some extra ability power for heals, for sustain in lane, and even still will build a Chalice of Harmony, even just for the, like I mentioned, the lane sustain. But you're not going to be able to do that in a 2v1. You're going to need a lot of attack damage to keep the minions off the turret. That's not something that Rhux can do at all. Continual death sentences. The harassment underneath the turret has been too much, and now it's Heaven Time, forced into lane to try to desperately keep that bottom turret alive at 6 minutes, already down to 600 hit points.
Right now, Rhux doesn't have an option. So that's the issue. So, for example, Renekton, he can build some AD, he can have, you know, a lot of physical damage. He still has options, though. All of Nidalee's options are AP. Until she hits level 6, then she can go a bit more aggressive. Her physical damage will be a lot more relevant. But normally when you run AD on Nidalee, it's because you want to go for lots of constant pokes. And those pokes do not matter right now. She can't auto-attack trade versus Roberto. Roberto's playing Lucian. He will tear her to pieces if Bubbadub lands a death sense because Rhux went to try and go for an auto-attack harass. Rhux will be in A, a bad position, and B, he'll probably take enough damage he'll be forced to barrier, flash, use some defensive cooldown, and probably heal afterwards. Westrice up topside doing okay versus Swain. Actually, aggression onto the turret.
Yeah,
going for
gotta
the
get
dive.
the dive. Fabbbyyy very low. Westrice taking up the turret like a boss. The Dominus giving him plenty of hit points to take that up, and it's gonna be the third kill. I was about to say first kill in lane as, yeah, BrokenShard coming in there. Nice dive out there, and now the farm to come out behind the turret. BrokenShard able to take down just about every minion there, and it's gonna be the top turret. Probably gonna be the first one to fall. It's gonna be Heaven Time coming in from behind. Westrice very low. BrokenShard's still going to start auto-attacking him. The red buff is down, but is it going to be enough? Heaven Time very low. One more auto-attack is going to be the dive. Flashed out there. Heaven Time stays alive. It has yet to pick up a kill. It's going to be BrokenShard's last auto-attack. Is it enough? No, he didn't click on him with the red buff slow, so it's going to be the potion keeping BrokenShard in there. Second kill picked up. Spear over the wall does not connect onto BrokenShard, and Westrice makes it out alive. Two turret does not, unfortunately. First turret of the game goes to TBD.
TBD just in constant control, now ahead by 3,000 gold. This has been a very odd game, but now that the lanes have settled, whatever the results, we're seeing the first two kills really come into play. Now BrokenShard has level advantage on Heaven Time, or has experience advantage. He's able to aggressively dive. Heaven Time hasn't been able to make any of the cool aggressive Lee Sin plays you normally like to see at the beginning of a game. As now aggression from Bubbadub gets a death sentence on a Tsatsulow.
And there's immediately the ultimate away, but it's not enough. Nyjacky cannot keep his support alive. Just the plays, Bubbadub, making both of them happen in the bottom lane for TBD.
The Buster shot was already down. That knockback not going to do a whole lot if it's on CDR. So, what do you do with your Curse Academy? Their lanes are effectively lost. Rhux behind by 26 CS, is now in the mid lane. Fabbbyyy is behind by quite a bit as well. Only actually one, but he was behind by about 13 before. He still lost his own turret. He still ended up giving up a kill. Bottom lane, Nyjacky's doing well, but Tsatsulow only level 3. Their lanes are just so far behind for Curse Academy right now. And they don't have a very good teamfight team for this point in the game. A lot of this is going to come down to just aggressive plays from Heaven Time. His Dragon has been taken. Heaven Time will be spotting that out. Will he be safe though? Explosive cast.
Explosive cast. Heaven Time's over the wall before you can say, I'm not sure what you say when you jump over the wall, but Heaven Time getting out of there, stays alive for now. It's going to be the flash down onto Arthelon, but as the push continues there, Rhux is going to try to trade back. Arthelon not too afraid of a 0-0-0 Nidalee with 30 CS at 10 minutes.
Now that Fabbbyyy has hit level 6, you can try and fight back a bit more versus Westrice. You'll see what he did. He puts down the never move when Westrice moves aggressively, because when Renekton uses Ruthless Predator, he just sits there for a second. You can get a lot of attacks off during that exchange. And then he just kind of kites forward. He'll put the Raven down, apply the slow, and then just try and deal as much DPS as he can during that time. Problem is, he's still losing in the exchanges. He's still dependent on mana. And Westrice now has control of golems. He's got control of more parts of the map, and now Rhux in a bit of danger.
Now Rhux getting traded out there by Arthelon, drops into Cougar form. There's plenty of mana onto Arthelon to keep him in that fight, continuing to dish out damage, but it's the blue buff actually given over to Rhux, so I like that pickup. That's essentially the Chalice, but without having to spend gold on it, so that will give him the mana regen. So a very smart optimization in that respect, so apologies for questioning that earlier on, but even still, it's an AD Nidalee in lane versus a Gragas, who's one of the highest sustained mid laners around right now, and so I'm actually really liking this choice. The problem is that, especially with the way that the early game went so heavily in favor of TBD. It's going to be up to fabbbyyy, a champion that could use almost an infinite amount of item slots to even fit one item in there.
fabbbyyy now trying to chase out Westrice. Does have Heaven Time to back him up. The never move does land.
He's in the middle of 2-1 versus 2. Slice away. Westrice trying to get in there, but trying to get away first. It's going to be Tsatsulow to drop the fear there, force the flash over the wall. There's going to be Heaven Time following it up, picks it up with a Dragon's Rage. Taking out Westrice for the first kill of the game, going over to Cursed Academy.
The increased hitbox on Renekton with that dominance up, but unfortunately did pay back for Westrice. He thought he was safe. He juked to the side. It wasn't quite enough though. Bubbadub now in some danger though as Rhux is going aggressive.
Oh, but the death sentence will land. Vox is out there. Rhux gonna get safeguarded, knocked all the way away, but it's BrokenShard to take him out. Heaven Time trying to get away from there. I'm pretty sure he flashed into the wall, but you know, I could be missing that. We'll make it out alive. The burn damage is not enough. Stays alive, gets back out there. 2 kills now for Cursed Academy, but they do lose Rhux in the process.
Rhux going down. It's a 1-for-1. It's an okay exchange if they don't secure the blue buff, which is what they're really trying to do. The issue fabbbyyy has is that top lane versus Westrice. Westrice is a-okay. He's picked up the Spectre's Cal, which is a fantastic item against Swain because every damage tick from the many dots he has will refresh that Spectre's Cal, and as a result, he gets a lot more sustain. It's only about 15 or so per spell, but that builds up very quickly. The issue is that Rhux, he's going to be effective at poking down Gragas, but he can't shut down farming because that barrel roll just a bit too OP as now Arthelon level 9 should be clearing those ranged minions with 1 explosion. And they just have to keep rotating lanes to try and deal with Arthelon to try and shut him down. Nyjacky now in the mid lane, he's going to mostly farm play a bit more passively while Rhux can try and go for that split push style of play we've seen from Nidalee's time and time again.
Right now, things have kind of stabilized. There is still that 4,000 gold difference between both of these teams. It's actually more like 6,000 gold when you do look at the way things are stacking up. All right, there is a little bit of discrepancy. So my final estimate is going to be 5,000 just to call it even in between there. But either way, the kills that came out very early on all seem to stack up onto BrokenShard for to be determined. And while Bubbadub has been incredible at keeping ROBERTxLEE very strong in lane, we're starting to see maybe some weak points in TBD's lineup. We're going to see one of them top lane, Westrice, going into a 1v3. He's Renekton, he's got a lot of damage, a lot of area effects as well. Slice, dice, and peels himself out of that team fight. Stays alive for now. Even 3 champions can't take him out just yet. Now BrokenShard, Heaven Time face checks, does not get knocked up there by the Vault Breaker, but it's Assault and Battery, can't quite take him down. Ward jump over the wall, Heaven Time in the right time gets out alive, and now it's Tsatsulow forced to run for his life. Arthelon explosive cast is up there, knocks him back in immediately, flashed out, taking BrokenShard underneath the turret, fear down onto Arthelon. Can Tsatsulow keep himself alive? There's the safeguard, Dragon's Rage back alive. Tsatsulow still in this game. The flash, body slam, Arthelon picks up the kill deep behind enemy lines inside the base, but it's fabbbyyy at long last able to take down Westrice through the dive. Nidalee is gonna get taken out there. Arthelon body slamming over the wall. It's Nyjacky in a duel with ROBERTxLEE. Arthelon with a drive-by barrel just drops the barrels on him, takes him out. 3 kills for Arthelon.
Arthelon picking up kills left and right. Rhux was actually there waiting to pick up Arthelon, but guess what? The fat man came bearing the gift of explosive wine as he just blew him up in response. And then Tristana, of course, the same thing, going forward, not expecting the trap that was Lucian. I mean, that was incredibly weird. That's such an odd dive to see at the 14-minute mark, diving past the inhibitor turret to pick up they're picking up in-base kills, but they're so far ahead. Arthelon does so much ridiculous damage, and of course, Gragas has some of the highest both A, sustain, and B, just chase potential out of champions out there. It's not surprising to see. That could have been 4 kills, actually. Heaven Time had a good last-second juke that kept himself from getting hit by an explosive barrel in the base. So Arthelon almost picked up the Quadra in base, but luckily, I guess, for Cursed Academy, he was able to juke out. Still, though, that's a triple kill for Gragas. Westrice, the only person who got caught out at the very end of that. I mean, they were all so far forward. Only Westrice being caught out is actually fantastic for the team. So the question is, what does TBD do now? Honestly, whatever they want. Looking for that dragon pickup. They're so far ahead of Cursed Academy right now. Not in experience necessarily, except for Arthelon, but mostly in gold, and that gold is going to be significant as Arthelon already has that needlessly large rod.
You didn't yell the culling, studio. We gotta give credit where it's due, and now it's Tsatsulow getting knocked right into the middle of the enemy team. A perfect explosive cast starts and finishes that fight for TBD. They're going to pick up 1 kill, jump onto the dragon for now, and over the course of almost every single objective so far, 3-0 perfect turret score, 1 dragon their ways, looking for a second. They will take it down 10-3 and 2-0 in dragons with a 3-0 turret score as well.
They're ahead by 8.5k gold. That's a lot of gold at any time in the game, even 30-40 minutes. That's a lot of gold at 60 minutes. We're ridiculously far ahead for TBD. Rhux gonna try and go aggressive on the Roberto. Rhux doesn't have a lot of mana, but he does have a lot of damage. Can he fight this? They need kills and pickoffs like this.
Rhux does have execute damage from the takedown. Will he be able to take him down there? Gets in there, barrier baits him out, and it's Rhux with the kill onto ROBERTxLEE.
He's got some trouble coming though. BrokenShard looking bot lane. There are no wards. He did not step on a trap. Gonna look for that kill right now. Gonna try and chase him down with that ball breaker most likely. Can he pick it up?
He's gonna look to leap away. Will drop the flash immediately. There is a red buff there. Ball breaker does not land. He's gonna get the extra movement speed from the brush. Can he make it over this wall? Yes, he does. And it's gonna be up to the cooldowns on the BrokenShard. Death sentence does not catch him out on the other side. And Rhux gonna pounce his way back to base alive.
Rhux picking up a sorely needed kill. If they go for pickoffs like this, their team comp isn't really useful right now. The issue is Swain needs to have that first major item. In this case, it looks like it'll be a Rod of Ages. Those Onions would be handy as well. Nidalee doesn't have Triforce completed. Lucian, he's got his utility items completed in that Sightstone, but essentially no one's got anything too useful. So they go for a big 5v5 team fight. That big fat Gragas, it's extra fat from being fed a bit, in terms of CSN and kills and global gold, is just going to shred them all to pieces and just a big old team fight. They need the 2v1s, they need the 3v1s, they need the 1v1s that they can win, and they can try and claw their way back into this. But right now, they're playing from behind, they're playing scared, they cannot group up, lest Arthelon release the explosive cask.
Arthelon's been releasing a whole lot more than the explosive cast so far, studio. He's been all over everywhere. He's been almost inside or in between the Nexus turrets so far, picking up kills. Body slamming himself back out of there. So far 3-0-3, but that does not, there needs to be a 4th column where we can numerically describe the amount of swag that Arthelon has right now, because he's just been dropping that as well as the barrels all over Curse Academy. Nyjacky, he's 0-1-0. That's actually a pretty good score because he hasn't actually died yet in lane. He died once to a little bit of a gank attempt there and went a little bit rough. That was Heaven Time, safeguarding away. Immediately, the explosive cast counted out there by the Buster Shot. Jacky's going to take a little bit of extra damage from that. Makes himself back out for now. I love the depositioners. There's the explosive cast. You've got Buster Shot as well from Nyjacky. They've got just everybody flying absolutely everywhere. And it looks like as far as Air TBD is concerned, Curse Academy not too happy to ride.
That was a fantastic cast from Arthelon. Almost caught him out. fabbbyyy though in a lot of danger now. Doesn't have anything to really keep himself alive now. Should be going down pretty easily.
He's finally completed his Rod of Ages at 18 minutes, and that's cool and everything. Now he's going to be up to Heaven Time, trying to safeguard away. That calling coming out from behind, blocks by minions, and it's Heaven Time. Westrice taking him out. Spears continue to fly, but they're AD Nidalee spears. I don't think anybody's too afraid of those just yet. Rhux, he has the components of absolutely nothing. Or everything, depending on how you want to look at it, and is probably looking for a Trinity Force, but it's going to be a very long time until that's complete. Explosive Cast once again hits onto Rhux. He's in the middle of 4. Westrice on a killing spree, 4-2-2. Curse Academy, they're trying to defend their first base turret of the game, but they're losing turrets across the map.
I mean, they did lose Bubbadub in that extended push, but at this point, if you get hit by a D position, the only person that can reliably survive it is Heaven Time. If you get hit by BrokenShard's ultimate, the explosive cast, a death sentence, there's enough CC and there's enough follow-up CC because, Gragas slow. BrokenShard's ultimate, BrokenShard's Vault Breaker, Roberto, and his high DPS, the death sentence, the Flay, the Ruthless Predator from Renekton. There's a lot of single target CC coming out of TBD, so if you get hit by anything, you're going to get bursted down with all that follow-up. And I really do love how Arthelon's playing. He goes for the depositioner and he waits. What if Rhux had flash? What if Rhux had left away and not at position? He didn't want to try and body slam, leave himself in a silly position, just making a bad face, having missed that slam. So instead he waits and he knows that his team is so far ahead as well as himself that they can actually play patiently in team fights. They can wait for people to use their escape skills and they can save their big ol' CC after that escape skill gets used up. It's terrifying for Curse Academy right now. They don't really have pickoff potential either because, well, the roaming is 5 for the most part. The roaming grouped up over on the side of TBD, and they can keep themselves very safe very easily.
Rhux actually got himself a blue buff. I am impressed. After being, the namesake of Rhux City for the longest time, there's a new mayor in town. His name is Arthelon, and giving a blue buff away somewhat mercilessly. Arthelon being a very merciful god so far, as the 306 score really doesn't reflect how great he is, but you have to focus on a few things that are starting to happen for Curse Academy, because as one-sided as the score may look in the big numbers, and of course in the small numbers indicating the 6-0 turret lead, they still Curse Academy can still rely on the late game power of Tristana and Swain. They will get there eventually, but it's 20 minutes, and so if they can double the length of this game, then I think they're going to be okay. Their difficulty comes in doing that. That's the question mark before they profit.
It may be even a triple game. Like I think they might need to take this to about 50 or 60 minutes before their team really comes back into play. The problem is they don't have a lot of reliable CC. There is the Fiddle Fear, which is amazing. There is Never Move, but Never Move isn't reliable. And getting lockdown on some of these champions is going to be so difficult.
Speaking of lockdown, there's going to be a death sentence. Nyjacky gets blown apart. And now it's ROBERTxLEE dropping the culling from behind, and it's not enough keep Tsatsulow alive, and fabbbyyy there is alive, but it's also not actually fighting anymore. Rhux trying to get in there, has his Trinity Force completed along with the all-prevalent Doran's Blade tonight, but probably needs a few more of those. Maybe needs to take a page out of our last game. Still not quite able to get in there. Is 1-3-1. And has been able to pick up 1 kill on a nice 1v1, but now it's going to be up to fabbbyyy to try to defend this turret, hold off the push from To Be Determined. They grab Rhux. Rhux not actually dead just yet. Explosive cast knocks him further away. There's the Dragon's Rage to knock him even further back. Westrice unstoppable as he takes out fabbbyyy underneath the turret. TBD trying to escape actually will not take the turret down, as it is a 1-for-0 exchange in their favor, but no turret dying just yet.
Having time trying to make the 6th play. It's not trying to go almost in sec, but has to back on out at the last second. I mean, the only reason that push didn't end the game is that Curse Academy is so early on in this game still. It's only 22 minutes, the death timers aren't particularly long, and the end result is, guess what? They're up in time to try and defend their base. But still, 16-5, 14,000 gold difference. Let's look at some of these items. Gragas has Death Cap, he's got his Athenes and Holy Grail, he's got 1,200 gold in the bank as well, so if he wants to finish a Void Staff, almost there. Renekton with the Tiamat, Randuin, he stopped building Magic Resist, he didn't go for the full Spirit Visage because he realized that he's so far ahead of fabbbyyy right now that it doesn't matter if fabbbyy's attacking him, he doesn't deal enough damage. Roberto's got the Triforce, we've seen this quite a bit from aggressive Lucians. You go for Triforce first, and then into a Last Whisper for just really strong damaging auto attacks, but he might go Infinity Edge because he has that gold advantage and he can do it. He's not playing for mid game at this point. He wants to play to survive into the late game.
So for right now, as far as late game's concerned, you can sort of just hover over the items that are about to be picked up. It's going to be Lucian, like you mentioned, Trinity Force, Infinity Edge. So the Trinity and Infinity completed there. And as ROBERTxLEE, he had a little bit of a rough 1v1 that actually wound up giving Rhux the kill early on, but ever since then, I don't think he's actually been in too much of a struggle. The real struggle comes when you look at Nyjacky, has completed an Infinity Edge of his own, but is a Zeal, only has the Zeal, no Trinity Force, no Phantom Dancer coming out just yet on his account. Rhux, though, I feel like he's been one of the most consistent members of Curse Academy ever since its very first iteration, but now with LoL Pro members subbing in, you can see there's a distinct lack of synergy that is what has been so strong for Curse Academy. Now it's ROBERTxLEE getting feared. Inhibitor down to half health as his base turret falls. Damage to come out there. Inhibitor just taken out and disengaged from pretty free objective there, as now 2 inhibitors are down for Curse Academy.
Not a whole lot that can do to defend it. Baron also going to be a major threat now. This is the point of the game. This is the guillotine. It started to fall. Curse Academy now, maybe they can only turn and watch it fall onto their necks because I don't know how they're going to protect this 3rd inhibitor turret. All cooldowns currently available from TBD. And as far as stopping their fight, nothing's really hindering them. They do have to send Nyjacky to defend against the super minions pushing the Nexus turret, so expect, as Arthelon blows ultimate, expect a solid push.
There's going to be a nice 2-man snare from Nether Move, but half health from 1 barrel in the explosive cask, almost killing Tsatsulow. He has a Sightstone right now. He has 4 more wards from it, but he's buys an Oracle. He's bought Oracles instead of building himself any additional defensive stats, and that just means he's kind of, I don't know, when Gragas gets ready to roll out the barrel, it doesn't matter if he's using that Oktoberfest skin or not. Look at the flash initiate there. Arthelon on a rampage. Rhux City is in need of new government because Rhux just disappeared. It's now Tsatsulow just fresh back from the fountain. The culling fired in the an alternate direction, let's put it that way, by ROBERTxLEE. But you know what? Sometimes it's not about killing people with the culling, it's about sending a message. Now Arthelon over the wall gets Dragon's Rage kicked over right as BrokenShard takes it back over to the other side. Arthelon unstoppable, 5-0 and 7. The shutdown comes from Nyjacky, but it's a double kill there for Arthelon. Going deep, diving under the sea. It's a triple as he takes out the untimely demise of our Lord fabbbyyy. The gates are looking a little bit open in the studio as Curse Academy cannot defend their base. Nexus turrets falling, and it's to be determined who will at 26 minutes with a score of 21-6 and 11-0 in turrets.
21-8. 21-8.
All right, never call it too early. Unfortunate demise of Arthelon, but the victory goes over to TBD.
I mean, that was an odd game. That was a silly game. I enjoyed it. Curse Academy, of course, playing with subs. TBD, though, just took so much control so quickly. From that first blood to defending their own jungle, there were constant fights across the map, and TBD able to really just stay ahead, or at least even in most of them long enough that their early kills could snowball into actual gold, into actual items, into an actual victory. As Arthelon that game was just on a rampage. I mean, he was at one point on a rampage, but able to dive into their base to pick up kills, able to dive past the inhibitor turret. The entire team from TBD just grouped up so well and played around that assassination potential to the max. Curse Academy, they had a good run, and this can't happen with subs, but man, they just got devastated by TBD.
Yeah, TBD with an incredibly solid performance. None more solid than the 7-1-7 performance from Arthelon, and you gotta give a solid performance over to BrokenShard no matter what score he has. So either way, that's gonna be the game, third game of the night. It's gonna be TBD taking out Curse A. And as before we move on to our last game of the evening, as Cognitive Gaming take on Complexity, we're gonna give a quick shout out to our sponsors at Loot Crate.